Hello, hello. We are
Ah,
live with Lillian Palmer and Molly.
Molly.
And I am so excited because Lillian is a success story of the Carefree Expat Incubator. She moved from
Yay.
San Diego, California to Nice in December of 2023. So she's been in Nice for about 6 months. And I thought it would be a great idea to talk to her and see how life is in France and what she got out of the program and some things maybe she didn't expect. And so it's going to be a great conversation. So I see some people have joined and it looks
Okay.
like we've got some comments. And hi, Dion, how are you? Hi, Diane.
Hi,
Hi,
Diane.
JS Spin. Hi, Jess A from Montgomery, Alabama. So welcome, welcome, welcome. So I told you a little bit about Lillian. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. In case you don't know who I am Patricia Brooks, and I am the Courage Catalyst and Carefree Expat living in the south of France. I moved from Richmond, Virginia, 6 years ago, almost 6.5 years ago now. And now I help women who have a dream to start the next chapters of their lives living in their dream countries. I help them move from fear and self doubt into confidence and courage so that they can make the move. And today, as I said, we've got Lillian Palmer, who has done just that. She found the confidence and courage to live her dream in France. So, Lillian, tell us
Yes.
a little bit about yourself. What do you think is important for everybody to know?
Well, hi, everybody. Thanks for joining Patricia and I live. Um, Born and raised in Southern California, and I'm a singer and entrepreneur. I own commercial property back in California, so I manage my business from Nice via the internet, like so many of us. I'm a single woman, and but I've never let age define me. So what we lose in elasticity after a while, we gain in confidence and wisdom. That's what I say.
Mhm.
So my story's a little different. My parents are from Greece, and I'm first generation, born in the United States to Greek parents. So I'm a child of two worlds, the European world and the American world. My mother used to say that I would speak to her in English when she would talk to me in Greek. So I'd answer her in English. So I'm a kid of both worlds. So I've always had a real connection to Europe. And in the last, definitely 5 or 6 years, I knew that I wanted to make a move. And at the time, I wasn't sure where. And I decided that France was it.
Mhm.
And I met Patricia online. I was just, you know how you are, you get onto the internet and you kind of go down that rabbit hole. And somehow I came across Patricia and I watched her YouTubes, and I like what she had to say. And I resonated with a lot of it. And I contacted her, and here we are today. I
Yes,
am in
yes.
Nice, France, living my life.
Yes. So
And
you
I've been
found
here
me
for
on the internet.
I found you on the internet.
And so, I'm curious. So you said
Yeah.
that you wanted to move to Europe, for the last 5 or 6 years. And why was it that you decided to reach out to me? What were you looking for?
Well, I think because even though my desire was there, I didn't have the focus and I didn't have a timeline. It was kind of like, oh, I want to move and I don't know when, but I definitely want to get out of the US.
Mhm.
But there wasn't anybody there with a cattle prod, gently saying, Lil, what are you doing about this? And yeah, getting you to a point where let's focus, and what are the steps realistically that you need to do to make this happen for you. And so the accountability was very important for me personally, because I can be all over the place. So I appreciated your gentle nudging me this way and that way to get me to understand what I needed to do and to make this idea and dream in my head a reality of actually moving. Because
Yeah.
none of us do it alone. And the program for me was very vital. And also the fact that the other women in the program are very, very supportive, and everyone's going through the same thing that you are. I mean, your friends are wonderful and loving and supportive of you, but they don't really get what you're going through because you're the one that's moving. And so a lot of my friends, although they helped me with the garage sales and they, did all the things that I needed them to do, didn't quite know that, well, she's actually going. I mean, I had a good friend of mine, Maddie, who said to me, after I sold my car, and I sold my car within 10 days of me leaving, and she said, we were talking on the phone, and she goes, "You're really going, aren't you?" And I said, "It's weird. Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm going because I don't have a car and this is Southern California." There's no turning back now.
Yeah.
So your friends, as well-meaning as they are and loving as they are, don't quite get it like the other women in the program who are striving and have the ambition and the passion to figure out a way for themselves individually to make their dream a reality and move.
Yeah. So really what you realized was you wanted to do this thing, but that focus wasn't there. The person who with the cattle prod.
That's you, baby girl. There. There's your branding. A little cattle prod with a little heart on it,
But yes, I mean, I think that a lot of times we want something and when it's really big, and it's not something we've ever done before, we can have a lack of focus because we don't know what's next, but we can also have some hesitation because of fear, right? Because it's
sure,
a big deal.
It's the unknown. I mean, I lived in Italy in my mid-20s, and that was a while ago. Let's just say that. And, ignorance is bliss, and you're young and stupid. So I just picked up with my passport and left and lived my life over there for 4 years before I came back. And I didn't know you needed a visa. I didn't, but now you're older, so you pile on all those what ifs and all the things that you have to think about because now you're an adult. Oh, damn. But, you have to do all those things that you need to do. So when you're here, you follow the proper system so you don't have any problems. And, and there's so much information online and there's so much misinformation online that, with you, Patricia, you can rely on the fact that when you're giving advice or when you're directing people, hey, look at this website or look at this, you need to do A, B, and C first, that it's going to be the right information. That if you don't know that answer, you do a deep dive to find what that answer is for the expats that work with you, us courageous women. So that was very important for me because you don't know, when you're just starting to look at different options for yourself, and that's very important.
Yeah. And I think the other piece of that is having a sounding board, right? Because a lot of times you're in your head, you're thinking, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? On a call, you can just say, well, I'm thinking about this. And then you can kind of talk through it and you can hear yourself say it and hear how good or bad that sounds or feels to you. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sophie Love says it's funny how friends and family will just think you're all talk until you step foot on that plane. So true. So true. All right. So there's a question here. I'm going to ask
Hmm.
it.
Okay.
So how long did it actually take before, where is it? You actually made the jump. So how long before you actually made the jump were you thinking about becoming an expat?
Oh, gosh. I started researching the year before I met you. So I would say that process, and that was, where do I want to live? I looked at New Zealand, I looked at Portugal, I looked at all these other places, and I picked France because I feel that it's a contemporary country. It's got wonderful transportation, it cares about its people, and so many other wonderful things. And so when I came to you, I already had France in my head. I knew that's where I wanted to be. When I actually started, okay, let's start getting rid of things. Let's start selling things. Let's start looking at all of what I need to do, was a year, basically a year.
Yeah,
So
because yeah.
1 year thinking seriously now, and then another year to really start setting up the stages. And also for my business, because I own commercial property, I invested in it, upkeep that maybe if I was still living there, I wouldn't have done for another 5 years. I did it now. I did it last year. I did it in 22 and 23. Everything that I needed to take care of, from plumbing to roofs to this, that, and the other thing. So, because I'm managing it from here, I have someone, my good friend Michael, who is physically, cruising around, and I have cameras around the building and all that. So I've put into place a system that I feel very confident and comfortable with as far as that's concerned. But about 2 years, really, start to finish, but the last year was the heavy lifting,
Yeah. The
basically.
first year was the thinking, oh yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
figuring out the where and
Yeah. And then also finding, do I want to buy? Do I want to rent? Well, Lillian, you're going to a place, because I decided on Nice without ever having been here. Ha 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 ha.
had you been, so here's the question. Had you visited France before?
Oh, yes. I had this.
Okay.
In June was my third visit, and primarily in Paris, and that's where I originally thought I was going to be. And then when I came in June for a month, I stayed with a good friend of mine. She gave me her apartment, and she went and stayed with someone else, a friend of hers. And I looked at Paris with different eyes. Is it for me? I'm from Southern California. We're more laid back. San Diego. We've got the beach, fun in the sun. So when I was in Paris, I was somewhat claustrophobic. And I also thought of, is Molly going to like it? Because she's part of my life. Okay, I may not have to put her through college, but she is part of my life. And what am I going to do with her there? I'm going to put her in a baby sling and carry her in the metro. I realized I didn't want to be there. So I had been working with, can I make a plug?
Go ahead. Yeah.
With Adrienne Leeds. Hi, Adrienne, if you're on.
Mm-hmm.
And her wonderful women, to Adrienne Leeds from the Leeds Group, she does real estate here in France, excuse me. And I had signed on with her, and originally it was Paris. And then when I came back to California, I said, well, how about Nice? Let's do Nice. And that's what I decided to do, without having been here. And, you take a leap. For me, I take a leap of faith, and it felt good and it felt right. And it is the right place for me to be. I love Nice. I can walk 20 minutes and I'm down at the promenade right by the sea. It has all the transportation. It's a smaller city, obviously, but still it has theaters and the arts and medical and restaurants and clubs, and it's a nice fit for me. It's a bit more laid back than
Yeah. Yeah.
Paris.
I think
People
when you were
smile.
on your scouting trip and you were in
Yeah.
Paris, you told me,
Mhm.
I want water. I want to be near water. And I think you took a trip up north to, was it Normandy or was it,
Rushford, and I may not be pronouncing that properly. Rushford. It's
mhm,
in that area. And the
mhm,
the minute I was there, the next morning I woke up and I said to myself, Lil, don't push something that doesn't feel right to
mhm,
you. And I was pushing Paris because I was just pushing Paris.
mhm.
And it didn't feel right. And I decided, no, no, it wasn't right for me. It just
Yeah.
wasn't.
Yeah. So
And,
now, so now you're in Nice. You pick Nice,
mhm.
not ever having been there before.
Yeah.
Um, what so what is your life like there now?
Um, in any particular ways, my life like there. It's more relaxed. Um, I don't feel that, I'm a woman of age and I've lived about 4 or 5 different lives. And I don't feel like I have to be doing all the time, that I can take a step back and enjoy the simple things. When you start to uh, rid yourself of or unburden yourself of all the things you have back in the States, you go back to realizing you can do without, you can do with less. And I feel that I've come back more to myself
Mhm.
as a person. I've regained more of my adventurous spirit that I had it kind of left me for a
Mm,
while,
mhm.
for some years. Um, and I'm okay with a slower pace of life, a more enjoyable and pleasant uh, pace.
Mhm.
That there isn't this struggle, or if you sit for 20 minutes, that you feel like you need to get up and be doing something else. You
Mhm.
know, I still have my students online from the States. I am starting to teach voice here a little bit, as we talked about earlier, looking at working with a Greek attorney for Greek citizenship, since my parents are from Greece. So we've got, working, striving towards that.
Mhm.
Uh, but it's just, I'm happy and content. What is
Mhm.
my life like? I'm happy and content. Where in the
Mhm.
States, I was bored to death after a while.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Like, yeah, I was like, okay, so what's next? What am I doing? I'm not happy here. I've been here and it's home, but it's not home anymore. And so I'm looking for somewhere else to be
Yeah.
home and be myself.
That's
And,
yes.
you know,
That's exactly where I was.
yeah,
This served me well for,
yeah,
51 years, but now I'm ready for something new, something different, something more
yeah.
challenging. Mhm.
Yeah, and the only thing I miss is some of my very, very close friends that I've had for decades. But
Mhm.
we Zoom, we talk on the phone, all the time. And I'm always telling me, come and visit, come and visit. I got a 2 bedroom, come and visit, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But those people you'll have, for the rest of your life. It's a little bit different at this stage in my life to make friends and make friendships. It comes a little, I'm not 20, my party animal days are kind of over with. So it's a different kind of adventure and making friendships here. It's a little bit of a slower go, honestly, but that's okay. I'm not a lonely type of person, so I don't mind being on my own.
Mhm.
Um, you know, uh, I'm not sitting home boo-hooing.
Mhm.
Right, Ma? No, Mama, we're out and about.
Well, so Gail and Tom say we miss you, but are glad you're
Hi.
happy and doing well.
Hi, Gail. Hi, Tom. You going to watch Holly sing? The jazz in San Diego. San Diego does have very, very good jazz. Uh, so yeah, hi, you guys.
So,
Good to hear from you.
so I want to kind of ask a couple of other questions that
Yeah.
people have put in the chat.
Yes.
And I guess I want to segue into those by asking you this. What has been the hardest part for you about settling in France?
The language,
Mm-hmm.
by far.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because what you learn before you come here, you can just let the wind take it away. Because when people start to talk to you, it's not you're not really learning conversational French. So, and they speak very fast. Of course, they say we speak very fast as well. So, it's like you're starting all over again. That has been the most difficult and challenging. Also, with that, doing translations on the internet. Luckily, with my energy company for my electric, I discovered that they had a phone number for English speakers, and I'm like, oh yay! I'm gonna get on an English speaker, and I'm gonna fix my, get my electricity into my name and all that. Banking, Adrian helped me with the banking. Adrian Lee helped me with the banking because I wouldn't have known what in heaven's name I was doing with a bank account to set that up, because it is complicated here. Patricia, the French love their paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
Paperwork.
Well, so it sounds like the language has been the most challenging for you. You
Yeah.
started learning before, but now what are you doing? How are you learning the language?
Well, I'm doing a conversation group,
Mhm.
and just by chance meeting someone in the street when I was walking my dog, a young lady with her dog, she spoke English quite well, and she was actually Italian. And I asked her, I said, by the way, I said, do you know anyone who teaches? And she says, yes, I do. So I'm working with a lovely gal, and Frederica Sabba. And she's actually Italian, but she's got her master's in London for languages. She teaches French as well. And so she actually is a singer. So she and I are doing a trade, singing for voice lessons. And then, studying on my own and, learning the never ending verbs and all that and all the exceptions to the language and the rules. Gets me a bit confused because when I lived in Italy, I learned Italian just by speaking it. Greek because my parents were from there, and my mother, was the Greek speaker really in the family. So I thought French would be a lot. Oh yeah, no problem. Ha 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 ha. It's. I mean, I'm better, much better. I can have a relatively simple conversation with people, but I've given myself the grace to know it's gonna take me a while, years to really just.
And I think you had said something on one of the calls about that, exactly that, how you got here and you were doing so much, and language in an effort to get up to speed with the language as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And you realize that, well, it will take time. I need to apply myself, but it's just a matter of, it's going to take time. I'm not going to wake up tomorrow fluent in French. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So good. So good. So you're learning the language. Are you able to transact, like, going to the grocery store or the market? You've mastered that.
I've mastered that, and I've even, when tell me how much it is. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, I know that one. But the coins are so, I have to put on my glasses to see
Yes. Yeah.
the
You're looking at them.
denominations.
What's that? Is that
Yeah, like,
10? Is that 20?
why do they have a 2-cent coin? And so yeah. But I think too, I think what's important too, what I would suggest to people is that any country that you go to, once you find the places that you like to buy your stuff, whether it's the baker, the butcher, the candlestick maker, keep going there. Keep frequenting that cafe so they see your face, they know who you are, you're more comfortable to speak the language with them. And then when you mess up, it's okay. I mean, I had this thing the other day where I went in to buy some bread, the same boulangerie. Man, did I say that right?
Yes.
And
We.
I like to buy maize, cornbread. And I was just in line and I thought, well, let me get some wheat bread too. So, I was next in line. I didn't really have a chance to look at my translator, see what wheat was. So I said to her in English, pain de wheat. Now, you and I know that wheat means something else in French, which is the number 8. And I kept saying wheat, 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 pain de wheat. Yeah, I want a piece of bread of 8. And the gal says to me in English, she says, I thought you were trying to speak French to me. And I'm like, yeah, I was trying, but that didn't work out. And then we both started laughing. So, things like that, or just, the battery thing. I didn't know how to ask for AAA batteries. Remember, we talked about that. And I said, triple, because I wanted AAA batteries. Triple, And then she looked at me and was surprised, and she thought it was funny. And then she went around the store telling all her the other salespeople, triple, So it was like this joke around the store. And you just have to be okay with the funny things that happen, or you don't say something right. Who cares? You'll learn it eventually. I haven't had any negative interactions with anyone here. So I haven't been offended, or have I offended anybody that I know of?
I think you would know.
Yeah, the crazy American, what the hell is she asking bread for 8? So yeah, so it's been and every day you get a little more confident,
Yeah,
and
it's a process. It's a process.
because in the beginning you're afraid to open your mouth and say something because you're gonna you think you're just gonna say it wrong.
Mhm.
But then it's like, oh, who cares? Just say it, whatever it is, or just rehearse it on your Google Translate as I'm walking the streets until I get to where I needed to go,
Mhm.
I had to exchange some ink this morning, and because they gave me the wrong cartridges, and we did fine, and it was
Mhm.
great.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You asked if Adrian Leeds was here.
Yes.
And Lillian, yes, I'm here watching.
Hey,
So, hi, Adrian. So I want to ask you, you've got a cute dog on your lap,
yeah.
Molly. All right. So
Ooh,
you made the move
yeah.
from San Diego to Nice with a
Yeah.
dog. What was like that? What was that like? Can you share a little
Sure.
bit about what that process was?
Um, First of all, my vet in San Diego was very helpful. Your vet has to be USDA certified. They do the certificates for you. It's all about the timing. They have to be chipped, and it has to be the um, the 10-digit chip, I believe, the longer digit chip. She had another one that was not the right chip, but that had been chipped when she was a rescue. Um, And once they do the vaccine, the rabies vaccine, you have 21 days in which to travel. That information sent off to USDA. They send you back directly your certificate. You got 21 days to travel. If not, and you don't have your paperwork in order, you don't board the plane. With Molly, from San Diego to Nice would have been just way too long. She's small enough that she was in a carrier with me on the plane. So we did it in 2 days. We did it from San Diego to Boston. We spent the night in Boston. Then we boarded Air France to Paris, Paris to Nice. Nobody even wanted to see any of her paperwork. When I got to Nice, they're like, oh, just go. You know, I'm like, okay. But Molly does now have her EU passport. We found a really, really good vet that we like here that also speaks English. And so Molly now has her papers to travel through the EU. If your animal takes any type of medication, which she does, make sure that your vet before you leave gives you about 3 months worth of meds. So when you get here, you can take your time and find a vet that you're comfortable with. You know, I went online and through chat groups on social media and asked, you know, what airlines were pet friendly. And overwhelmingly, Air France came back. So, you know, my travel basically was all about her. You know, she was my main concern, you know. So it worked out well. You know, she did well. I was very surprised she didn't whine or, you know, have any accidents on the plane. But every airport is a little different in the way they do security. Interesting. In San Diego, I could walk through security through the metal detectors with her, but in Boston, I could not. I had to walk through on my own, leave her on the other side without her leash, right? Just her collar on, and she had to walk through on her own. And I was like, oh, please don't start running through the airplane. Fun. And I was so proud of her. I was like, oh my gosh, she did it. And she, you know, she made her way across. Yeah. So everybody's a little bit different on how they do things. So just be prepared that if you got it, you know, you have to take them out of the carrier and all that. So start that whole process of training them to be in their carrier if they have to be in their carrier for any length of time. You know, so that, you know, she did well, and she's adjusted really well here. She loves to ride on the tram, the buses. In the beginning, she was a little frightened of, I think, the noises and the sounds on the streets because your sidewalks are not very wide here on the most part. But she's a real trooper. She's gotten used to it now. Now she's, you know, just cruises right along and knows where to do her, you know, her business and stuff.
Good. Yeah. So I know that was one of the things that you were very concerned with, and as you should be, you know, getting Molly where she needed to be safely, legally. And it sounds like, you know, you did all of your research, you got that together, and that allowed for a smooth transition. And even though they didn't ask for the paperwork, if you didn't have it, you know what, you would have asked for it.
Yeah.
Right. So
nobody asked for her in Paris. Nobody asked for her, you know, in Nice. But, you know, and your vet should guide you through that before you leave the States, you know, what you need to do and the paperwork you need to have for her, and the proper chip that needs to be administered. So, yeah, so she's a real trooper, right, Mom? Now she's like collapsed into this little thing on my lap here.
Yeah. So, you know, one of the things that, you know, moving abroad does for you, it makes you recognize what where you may be a little narrow? Like I'm talking about cultural differences. Have
Sure.
you experienced any culture shocks that surprised you, or maybe
Nothing,
not?
maybe not only because, I had Greek parents and I was
Mhm,
around foreigners
mhm,
all my life and then living in Italy and stuff. I think there's a few things that, um, like when people walk here, they're walking at their own pace, you know, and they kind of spread across the sidewalk and they're walking. And they really don't have an awareness of somebody who's walking behind them or somebody who wants to
mhm,
pass them. And sometimes people just kind of move from one side of the sidewalk to the other. You know, so you're gonna have to work around that. Or if people are coming at you when you're walking, in the
mhm.
beginning I was like dodging people, and I'm like, this is, and then I just got to the point where I'm like, stand your ground. And then you realize it's the unsaid law. It's this little dance that everybody does. And at the last minute, someone will move.
Yep, it's just
Yeah. And then especially if I'm walking Molly, they see you have a dog on one side, it's not as easy for me to drag her this way or that. And they'll just move, they'll come at you. But within 3 feet, they'll just move
Mhm. Well,
around
that's a
you.
little close to that 3 feet, I think.
You know,
Sometimes it's pretty close.
I know you're playing chicken. You feel like gunslinger.
Well, and that was for me, the personal space thing was a big
Oh,
deal
yeah.
for me for, in the lines at the a grocery store and like on the streets, the idea that, you're talking about dodging, right? That was who I was. But then at a point it was like, okay, it's the chicken thing. It's like, okay. But then, I learned how to just kind of slightly move out of the way. And so keep on going. Yeah.
Yeah, or just stand your ground and keep walking. They'll go around you, or
Yeah.
the buses. I mean, at peak hours, it's just like sardine time.
Mhm.
You get used to it, and everybody just kind of has their own little personal space within this crammed area. It's very unique in a lot of ways,
Yeah. Yeah.
and everybody's respectful of that.
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know, and very polite. It's always, pardon
Mhm.
and désolé, I'm sorry, excuse me, or excusez-moi. Everybody's very, very, very polite.
Yeah. Yeah. Lindy Lee has
Lindy!
Lindy Lee. Are you? She asked, "Are you settling in? How are you coping with everything being different?"
I'm settling in well. Thank you for asking. You know, what Patricia was asking before, your routine, I get up in the morning, get organized, we go out. I live very close to an area called Liberacion, which has a very traditional farmer's market 6 days a week.
Mhm.
And so we'll go to the market if we need something. I'll go get my, pain de wheat, get my bread, stop, have a coffee, a croissant or a scone or something, and relax for a while. Come home, have breakfast, do some work that I need to take care of, and go out and enjoy my day. So I'm settling in. I'm settling in well. Thanks for asking.
Mhm.
Um, there isn't anything really that um, I am shocked. I'm shocked and appalled. No, or shocked and surprised about. Uh, I think if you've traveled in your life, if you've gone out to different countries and different cultures
Mm.
and you see how other people live, um, uh, and then when you move, there isn't that big culture shock. The only thing I miss is good Mexican food.
Oh my gosh! Oh my
Why? Or
god!
corn tortillas. I found mission tortillas here, but they're the wheat, the flour tortillas. But I haven't found the corn. I was telling a friend of mine, John Kane, I said, I can't find corn tortillas. I miss my corn tortillas. Good Mexican food. I'll make guacamole and stuff like that. But yeah, a good Mexican meal is the only thing I really miss, and very close friends. Because my very close friends are people that I've known for decades, and they're all in the entertainment business. So,
so how are you managing that? So you left really close friends. How are you keeping in touch? How are you keeping the connection? Or are you, right?
No, I am with my close friends. Yes. I still do social media to a point. But my very close friends will do, WhatsApp, or we'll schedule a video chat, or I'll just send them pictures in the course of the day. And I know that, it's the middle of the night over there. So just see it in the morning when you wake up. Don't worry about it. Molly, what are you doing? Okay, so they're doing something. Anyway, I know, I'm like, hello, where's my dog? So that connection I'm keeping alive, and so are they. So that's good. I mean, it's always a boost when you get off the phone or get off the a video call, when you've seen your friends, your close friends, and it also, if I'm going through a little something, or I want to throw an idea out there, I have somebody who knows me really well to bounce that idea off of. And that's important, because they understand where I'm coming from, and your good friends should, can tell you when you're full of yourself, or no, you're not going to like that, or this or that, or think about that, or what are you thinking about, or why did you think of that at all? I mean, it's just different,
So those are friends back home. So have you, and you said making friends it's been there 6 months, right? So
yeah,
you said it's been a little bit slower. I don't know if then you had expected, or just slower. But what are some of the things that you find yourself doing in order to, put yourself out there so that you can meet new people and make friends?
Yeah, well, I'm starting to go to some meetup kind of groups. What I find about the social media on Facebook, on a lot of these, expat women in France, or this or that, for me, it's kind of more about their networking, their business. And it's not really too much about specifically friendship. We're getting together, having a coffee, this and that, and then you never hear from them again. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Could it be me? No. But I have made some friends that we went through à la Française together. I did that for a month. And so, as a matter of fact, on Friday, I'm getting together for dinner with one of the gals, who's really a sweetheart. We commiserated about hair, but I did find a good hair salon finally. It took me 3 tries.
Oh, yes.
The wrong color and this, that, and that. I found a salon that actually listened to you, and they did the right color and the cut that I wanted, and there was no ego involved. And then I sent another friend of mine there, and she was very, very happy. So yeah, I mean, there's certain things the girls got to have. Got to be good color.
Well, so I want to, there's another question here. And this is about, did you need a French attorney to get through the residency or visa legalities?
For me, I did a visitor's visa, which doesn't require a whole lot for the year. because first of all, again, my long game is the Greek citizenship for an EU passport. I still have to renew it, the visitor's visa, go back to the States probably before it expires October 1st, although I arrived December 1st, and renew it. But hopefully I'll know by the end of the month, so stay tuned, where that Greek connection will take me as far as the EU passport is concerned. So I did do a consultation online with an attorney firm here in France, in Paris, actually, that Adrian Leeds had recommended. And the gentleman is actually from San Diego. See, it's a small world, isn't it? Last year, just ask questions and get the, the skinny, get the facts. And the rest I could, I knew what I needed to do. I live in San Diego, so my appointment was with up in Los Angeles, the consulate up there. And then all the documentation, went to the French embassy in Washington, D.C. And I got my visa in 2 weeks, which was pretty fast. Pretty fast.
Yeah. So,
but depending on what you need to do and what kind of visa you're looking for, I highly recommend speaking to an attorney on this side, or whatever country you're going to be going to see exactly what you need and when you need it.
Thank you, Lillian. We got some comments around Mexican food. Oh my gosh, California has the best Mexican food. Hi, Dion. Dion is a part of the Carefree Expat Incubator Program as well. And here's another one. Miette says, oh my gosh, the Mexican food, French tacos are such an abomination.
Yeah. Oh, they eat their hamburgers here with a knife and fork.
Yep. And pizza too.
Cut it in half and then grab it, Talk about my friends. I was at a restaurant one night when I was in Bordeaux by myself, and I was watching two people eat hamburgers with a knife and fork. And I just WhatsApped a friend of mine, and I'm like, I'm sitting here in a restaurant and and they're eating with a knife and fork. She says, can you do recognizance? She says, can you do, and just videotape them so I can see it? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. If I get caught, videotaping somebody across the restaurant eating a burger with their knife and fork. Yeah, it's an abomination. Come on, people. It's a cultural thing, right?
Yes. So we've got a couple of compliments about your hair.
Oh, thanks. Yay.
So, and Jesse has a compliment as well. So it was worth going through the hairdressers to get to one that worked for you.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
We got one more question and then we're going to kind of wrap things up. Why didn't you move to Greece since you know the language?
They have a poor economy, sadly. And as much as I love Greece, to visit, wouldn't want to live there. Just wouldn't want to live there. But to visit, yeah, I have relatives there, tons of relatives on my mother's side. What, Molly? But not on, I don't know that many on my father's side. So I'll be going there soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. All right. And one more question. Did you secure an apartment before you arrived? And did you need to show it with your visitor visa?
Yeah, I did that with Adrian Leeds. We worked on getting me apartment.
Mhm.
Yeah, because as we said, the French love their paperwork. My lease was 50 pages long. And who knew, right? I mean, no way was I gonna, with everything else that you're going through, trying to get yourself organized to move your entire life to another part of the world.
Mhm.
For me, it was well worth it to work with professionals, to try to do every little thing by yourself. Maybe if I was 30 years younger,
Mhm.
I'd have more stamina,
Mhm.
but not anymore. No, no,
Mhm.
no, no, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you did it.
I did it.
You
Yes.
did it. December 1st, right? You did
Oh,
it.
oh,
And
thank you. My mom.
was it the right thing to do?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
For me, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And, I just kind of want to wrap things up because you started out by saying had wanted to move abroad for 5 or 6 years. 2 years before, you were thinking about it, thinking about it. The year before, when you found me, you're like, okay, I need to get focused. I need
Hmm.
some direction here. And you did it. What would you say was the biggest benefit or advantage you gained from joining the Carefree Expat Incubator Program?
Quite a few things. It was the idea that it's a safe place
Mhm.
to put your ideas, your goals, ambitions, your dreams out there, um, to get the right information, to be accountable, to be supported in through your process. You're not alone. You learn about yourself. I learned that I'm still crazy after all these years. Uh, and that's okay, you know. Um, to reinvent is okay. Sometimes our friends tell us, uh, this or that, but you have to hold true to who you are. And I think what it did was reinforce what I already knew in my heart, what I knew about myself, and it gave me the courage to put it into action and absolutely change my life uh, for the better at this point in my life, where I am now as a person. Uh, it's not an easy thing to do by any stretch, but you gotta find the right people to help you along your way, because nobody does anything alone.
Mhm.
None of us do anything important really all by ourselves.
Mhm.
And this was a major life change. And I still keep in touch with the other gals in the program, and we all support one another, whether they're across the pond or not, or whatever country they're going to. And that's important. It
Mhm.
really is. So for me, it was well worth it. I mean, it's an investment in yourself. It's not like I'm going to invest, I'm going to go to the spa and do my nails and my hair. No, this is your life. And for me, it was my life. And it
Mhm.
was very important to me.
Yeah, yeah. What you said about reinforcing things that you knew about yourself or that you knew you wanted.
Hmm.
I think what you're talking about there is that intuition that we have that we sometimes don't listen to just because, well, logic, you know, wins
Yeah.
out a lot of times. And
Yeah.
I think listening to our intuition, listening to our heart helps us to get to the places and do the things that are most important to us.
Yeah.
And, one of the reasons I have this program, one of the reasons I am a coach is because for me, I think the idea of regrets is a hard thing. And
Sure.
I don't want anybody who has this dream in their heart to
Hmm.
move abroad not to do it and have regrets that, well, what would have been or what could have been if only I had the confidence, if only I had the courage to do it. And I think that
Yeah. And
that
not listen
courage.
everybody else.
Yeah, the courage to listen to your intuition and follow through, even though it might seem crazy to everybody else, as we spoke about, before earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
So great. So great. Lillian, I want to thank you so much for
Thank you.
joining today. This has been a fun conversation, lots of comments going back and forth. There was one that I didn't share. I do want to share it before we go, before we wrap, if I can find it. It has to do with the wheat bread. If I can find it, it was funny. Here it is. Here it is. Mia says, she probably thought you were saying pain d'huître, which means oysters. I don't know that oyster bread exists either, but that is probably what she thought you were trying to say. I had to share that. So I want to thank everybody who has joined live, anybody who is watching the replay. If what you heard resonates with you and you are thinking about moving abroad, planning a move abroad, and feel like maybe you could use some focus and feel like you're not doing it alone, feel like you have a group of people who are there for you and have your back, a coach who helps you to move through the scary parts so that you can finally get to the other side and live in your dream country. I would love to have a conversation with you and see where you are in your process, where you want to be, what's holding you back, and if our working together could help you get there sooner. So if that sounds like you, be sure to go to thecouragecatalyst.com, future expat, sign up for a complimentary discovery call. And I so look forward to talking to you and learning more about your plans. All right. So if that speaks to you, go ahead and sign up today. All right. So I want to once again, thank you everybody for joining. And I wish all the best for you, Lillian. I can't wait to come visit you in Nice because I still have not visited that part of France. So now that I have a friend there, knock, 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 guess who?
Yeah, really. It's a 2-bedroom,
Great.
Absolutely.
Great. Well, thanks again. And thanks everybody. Take care.
Yeah. Take care, everybody. Bye.